Namaste. Good morning to viewers of Basavaraj. I have been asked to deliver a few talks on William Shakespeare, and I chose to speak on his play, Hamlet. Hamlet is one of the four greatest tragedies written by Shakespeare. Shakespeare is the greatest playwright that the world has ever produced. He has made a tremendous impact and influence on every theatre goer and also on all the writers who were born after his death. It is very interesting to note that Shakespeare even made a huge impact on his contemporary playwrights, including the university wits. And the readers, the viewers, the spectators, the audience have never lost their interest in Shakespeare and his plays. He is one writer in the world who has exercised a high degree of influence over the writers and theatre personalities across the globe. It is difficult for any writer to maintain his influence for a very long period of time. And a great writer like Shakespeare or Sophocles or Kalidas will never lose his appeal and his relevance. And it is up to the readers to understand, to make out, to find out the reasons why a writer of Shakespeare's caliber, Kalidas's caliber, becomes relevant not only to his time, but also to all the times and to all the generations and yugas. I'll be delivering 5 talks on Shakespeare's Hamlet. I will cover one chapter, one act in each of my 5 lectures. The readers are never tired of reading Shakespeare's Hamlet. The directors and the actors and actresses are never tired of staging his play on the stage. And the critics, the theatre critics and drama critics are never tired of talking about his play and its performance on the stage. So it speaks volumes about the significance and importance of the play Hamlet and also about the playwright William Shakespeare. I have a lot of personal respect, admiration, appreciation for William Shakespeare. I have been reading, teaching his plays for more than 2.5 decades. And I have never lost my interest in him. And every time I read his play or his sonnet or his long poems, it appears to be new to me. And I have tried in my own way, within my limitation, to find out the nature of this newness and the nature of this freshness. His plays are always new and fresh. We become old. For instance, I was not even 20 when I read his play, The Merchant of Venice, for the first time. Now I am 55. So I have grown old, but his plays have not grown old. And it was as fresh as it was then. The play, if I read Hamlet today, it is as fresh, as new as it was when I read it for the first time. This is the hallmark of a great writer and a great work of art. A great work of art is one which never loses its appeal, its significance, its importance, as well as its newness and freshness. So fresh, so new, and so relevant. If I read Hamlet, and to my surprise, I find out that I'm also like Hamlet. The answer to the question why and how this play becomes very relevant to you and to me even today. The problem that Hamlet faced centuries ago is the problem that I and you are facing today. And everybody goes through what we call the process of Hamletization. You become Hamlet not just one time, many a time in your life. And the trauma, the mental agony, the restlessness that Hamlet experiences in the play is something that you and I also experience in our way, in our lives every now and then. Hamlet is Shakespeare's classic. It is his magnum opus. It is his masterpiece. There is no dispute about it. There is no doubt about it. Hamlet is not only Shakespeare's classic masterpiece, it is world's classics, world's masterpiece. And every language, every literature, every culture, every civilization claims Hamlet to be his. It cuts across languages. It cuts across all man-made boundaries. It transcends human limitation, human man-made boundaries. It cuts across the ages, time and space. Does not create any problem for the popularity of this play. And in my lectures, I will try to find out the reasons that make Hamlet to be the greatest tragedy ever written in any language, and the reasons why Shakespeare becomes so relevant to us and so important to us. In my first lecture on Hamlet, I'll be covering the first act of the play. Look at the beginning of the play. The play begins at midnight. The play begins at midnight. And when the play begins, we see a couple of soldiers, watchmen, night watchmen, guards guarding the castle at Elsinore. And it's dark. It's completely dark. It's so dark that you cannot recognize the face of the person who is sitting right beside you. And this absolute darkness, this utter darkness is an indication of the tragedy that not only Hamlet experiences, several characters in the play experience. Darkness has its own symbolic meaning. It doesn't carry only the dictionary meaning, it carries a connotative and denotative meaning as well. And the city of Denmark is in trouble. The nation is in trouble. The country is in trouble. And remember, Denmark itself becomes a character in this play. There are several references to Denmark. For instance, something is rotten in the state of Denmark. From the beginning till the end of the play, characters keep referring to Denmark as a nation, as a country, and so on. And the security guards, the watchmen, are disturbed. They are disturbed because they have seen something which they think they shouldn't have seen. What did they see? They have seen the ghost of the dead king of Denmark, the senior Hamlet. And the mere appearance of ghost at the castle at midnight makes Bernardo, Marcellus, Horatio, and others reflect on Denmark as a nation. And the play begins with a question mark, and I have not made the list of questions asked in the play. I think more than 1,000 questions are asked in the play. A text in which several questions are asked is an indication that it's a great work of art. A great work of art is one in which several questions are asked. Now, the first question is, why did the deceased king, the dead king, become a ghost? It's not a good omen. And it points at disorderliness. And it also points at some kind of sin. And Bernardo and Marcellus want to make Horatio, who is a fellow soldier, watchman, a very good friend of Hamlet. He is also a philosopher, to realize that ghosts can exist, like you and me. But Horatio is a learned man. He too studied with Hamlet in Wittenberg. He's a learned man. He's a literate man. He's a cultured man. And more importantly, a Renaissance man, he cannot just believe in the existence of ghost. He wants to verify. He wants to verify, validate, then trust. So when his friends tell him that they have seen a ghost at the castle and he must believe it, he, of course, does not. That's why Marcellus tells Bernardo, Horatio says, it is but our fantasy and will not let disbelief take hold of him. When I met him, Marcellus tells Bernardo that when he met Horatio and told him about the ghost that they saw at the castle the previous night, he dismissed it. He suspended it. He said that it was our fantasy. It was our imagination, hallucination, fantasy. It's not a real thing. And he further said that he would not let this belief hold of him. And he won't let himself believe anything about this horrible thing that we have seen twice now. Marcellus does not understand the logic. He says, touching this dreaded sight twice seen by us, we have seen the ghost not once but twice. And when I tell him that I have seen a ghost, he doesn't believe in it. Therefore, I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night. I requested him, please come to the castle tonight, sit with us and watch the minutes of this night. This is an interesting observation. Shakespeare says, not just to watch the ghost, you should watch the minutes of the night. The night is also personified. Night is not a dead thing. Night has its own life. Night has its own color, its own language, and its own destiny, its own predicament. It also moves, passes, passing up night. You alone don't pass the night. Night also passes. So watch the passing of each minute of night. Watch the passing of each minute of the night. That if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it. So if he does that, if he watches the minutes of this night, if apparition comes, if the ghost comes, then he will approve our eyes and he can also speak to it. We do not have the necessary courage to speak to the ghost. This is what Marcellus says, and he also succeeds in bringing Horatio to the castle the next day. And so Bernardo, Marcellus, Horatio, all of them are at the castle. It's about to strike 12 midnight. And he is not ready to believe. Horatio is not ready to believe in the existence of ghost. There is nothing like ghost at all. Then when it strikes 12, there appears the ghost. And Horatio looks at the ghost and is surprised and shocked. Why is he surprised and shocked? Number one, he is surprised and shocked because he never thought that a ghost would ever exist. Now he has seen with his eyes a ghost and he has to believe it. This is not the only reason why he is surprised and shocked. There is one more reason, and there is one more reason, which is a very strong reason. Why did the late king become a ghost? What is he trying to say to us? And out of curiosity, Marcellus asks Horatio, is it not like the king? Doesn't it look like the king? Look at the Horatio's answer. As thou art to thyself, as thou art to thyself, as you are to yourself. If you are real, I am real, then this ghost is also a real thing. Then look at his observation. And Horatio is a very clever man, and he watched the ghost with all seriousness and made a note of its appearance, its face, eyes, its walking style, and also the dress. Horatio says, such was the very armor he had on when the ambitious Norway combated. Why is it why is the ghost wearing this armor? It's not an ordinary ghost. It is the ghost of a king. It is the ghost of a very powerful, fearless king who fought battle with the ambitious king of Norway, whom he defeated. And when he fought a war with the king of Norway, he had this very armor on him. So frowned he was when, in an angry parle, he smote the slanted poleaxe on the eyes. It is strange. Look at his face. It's so frowned. And it reminds him of the situation in which the dead king, the late king, attacked the Poles traveling on the ice in sleds. It is a strange thing. And now he tries to speak to the ghost, and the ghost does not speak to him at all. The ghost of late King Senior Hamlet appeared 3 times at the castle, only to make them realize that the king dead has become a ghost, and this message has to be conveyed to his son Hamlet. So the ghost has a purpose in appearing 3 times at the castle. The purpose is to send a signal to his son to come and meet. And nobody in Denmark knows Denmark knows how the late King Hamlet really died. They have been told that the king died of a snake bite. In an afternoon, he was sleeping in his garden, and there came a snake and he died of snake bite. And now, how could a king die of a snake bite? A king is not an ordinary man. Wherever he is, there are security guards to take care of him, bodyguards to take care of him. He's guarded. His bedroom is guarded, his palace is guarded, his gardens are guarded. And how come this king, the king of Denmark, in his own garden, while speaking, died of a snake bite? How could a snake bite him? And he was quite healthy, not very old, quite healthy, very popular. And actually, when he suddenly died, people did not believe. And Hamlet is a worried man. He's disturbed. And he's worried and disturbed even before meeting the ghost. Because when he came back to Denmark from Wittenberg to attend the funeral of his father, the events that have happened in Denmark made him think that there is some problem. There is some problem in him, in Denmark. And the death of his father is a great mystery. And as his son, it's his duty to unearth the secrecy, to resolve the mystery, and to find out the fact, the truth, whether his father died a natural death or it was an unnatural one. And he does not reconcile with the idea that his uncle is now his father. And he's worried about human relations. Relations have started confusing him. Who am I? Whose son am I? Who is my father? Whether the late King Hamlet, the late King Senior Hamlet is my father, or King Claudius is my father, because he also now claims Hamlet to be his son because he has married Junior Hamlet's mother, Senior Hamlet's wife, his own brother's wife. So he expresses his sorrow, his anguish, his restlessness when he talks to his mother, Gertrude, and his uncle cum father, Claudius. I will read out a few lines from the speech of Claudius from second scene, Act 1. Claudius says, "Though yet of Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green, and that it us befitted to bear our hearts in grief and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Although I still have fresh memories of my brother, the elder Hamlet's death. And though it was proper to mourn him throughout our kingdom, life still goes on. Claudius speaks like a philosopher. Claudius speaks like a saint. It's common. Death is common. And everybody has to die. But life has to go on. Life has to go on. The show has to go on. When somebody is dead, he may be an ordinary man or a king, but how long can the nation mourn? How long can the family mourn? There is an end to this. I feel extremely sorry to have lost my brother, but life should go on. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we, with wisest sorrow, think on him, together with remembrance of ourselves. I think it is wise to mourn him while also thinking about my own well-being. If somebody is dead, it does not mean that I should also die. I can mourn for him, say sorry for his death. At the same time, I should also take care of myself. So, therefore, our sometime sister, now our queen. Look at the relations. How can a sister become his wife? So Claudius tells that he had to marry his brother's wife, Gertrude, who was his sometime sister, now his queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state. He wants to divert the attention of the people because he knows very well that people have respected his brother and they don't just believe that he died a natural death. So he wants to divert the attention of the people, and in his attempt to divert the attention of the people, he has sent the message that Denmark is in danger and it may have to fight a war with its enemy. So he says it's a warlike state. So then for him, it's all right. For Claudius, the death of Senior Hamlet does not make very big difference to his brother Claudius, because he hasn't suffered any personal loss, and he stands to gain. He gained the kingdom and also the queen. The death of his brother is a big lottery for him. And he doesn't feel bad about it. He is happy. He is happy that his brother is dead. If he were to live, perhaps he would never become the king of Denmark. Now, Claudius has no problem with Hamlet. And he claims Hamlet to be his son. And he calls him prince. And he tells him that you are an heir to the throne of Denmark. You will succeed me. I want you to be happy. And you are my son, because you are my wife's son. So Claudius asks him, But now my cousin, Hamlet, and my son. You were my cousin then. Now you are my son. And Hamlet speaks in aside, a little more than kin and less than kind is an answer to his question. Not question, it is his response to Claudius calling him his son. Who am I? So too many family ties there for me. I just don't have one relation. I have multiple relations. So in some sense, Hamlet faces what we call the identity crisis. Who am I? Whose son am I? Who is my father? Who is my mother? You know, Claudius is my only uncle. He cannot be my son. Sorry, he cannot be my father. And the woman who gave me birth is now somebody else's wife. How can she be my mother? So he's confused. He is in a state of confusion as far as his identity is concerned and his existence is concerned. So then Claudius asks him, how is that the clouds still hang on you? You are still so gloomy with a cloud hanging over you. Please come out of it. Don't think that you are the only son in the world who has lost his father. Remember, your father also lost his father. Then Hamlet says, not so, my lord. I am too much in the sun. I am too much in the sun. Your son is out in the sun. Then Gertrude feels very sorry about the gloominess of her son. She says, if it be, why seems it so particular with thee? It's quite common. It's quite common. And you seem to be more worried about it. Why, my son? She asks. And that word seems, he finds the term seems to be very problematic. It's a very sensitive boy. Hamlet is very, very sensitive boy, extremely sensitive boy. Do you think that my agony, my cry, my grief, is not true? Hamlet says, seems, madam? Nay, no. It is, I know not seems. Do you say that I seem to be worried? I seem to be troubled? I am troubled. He doesn't call her mother. And whenever he calls her mother, there is an irony in it. There is an element of irony in it. It is sarcastic, ironical. Ironically, sarcastically, he calls her mother. Otherwise, madam, because he doesn't like her. Hamlet hates his mother from the beginning of the play till almost end of the play. Only at the end of the play, when he realizes that his mother had a soft corner for him and also for his deceased father, he becomes mild. And he tells her, madam, it is not. Don't say it seems. I know not seems. I don't know what you call seems. The word seems has no place in my dictionary. It's not alone my inky clock, good mother. Then he explains how he is troubled. Neither by neither my black clothes, it's not alone my inky cloak, hmm? Neither my black clothes, good mother, good mother, my dear mother, there is an element of irony in it. It is sarcastically. Why should I call you mother? You know, and you do not understand the sincere, honest feelings of of your own son. No customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspiration of forced breath, no, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected hair of this visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief that denote me truly. Neither my black clothes, my dear mother, nor my heavy sighs, nor my weeping, nor my downcast eyes, nor any other display of grief can show that I really feel. These indeed seem, it is true, all these things seem like grief, since a person could use them to fake grief if he wanted to. So Hamlet tries to tell his mother that he his grief, his sorrow is sincere and honest. Then Hamlet becomes a worried man. And he has two reasons to doubt both his uncle and his mother. Number one, why did my mother so quickly marry my uncle after my father died? This is the basic question that he asks, and this is what haunts him, troubles him, pains him, and disturbs him. After talking to his uncle Claudius and mother Gertrude, Hamlet feels that he should die. So one can give a long lecture on suicidal thoughts that Hamlet gets in the play. For instance, look at this dialogue. Oh, this is too solid, fresh, would melt. I wish my dirty flesh could melt away into a vapor. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Self-slaughter. Self-slaughter is suicide. So that God had not made a law against suicide. Oh God, God, how very stale, flat, unprofitable seem to be all the uses of this world. So Hamlet has lost his interest in life and in all the things that you find in the world. So how tired Stale and pointless life is to me. How weary, stale, flat, unprofitable seems to be all the uses of this world. This world does not interest me anymore. This world does not hold me anymore. Fie on it, or fie. It's an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely that it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not two, so excellent a king, that was to this. Only nasty weeds grow in it now. It's like a garden that no one is taking care of. Life, to Hamlet, life seems to be a garden that nobody has taken care of. A careless garden. His life, or life appears to him to be an uncared garden. And that is growing wild. Only nasty weeds grow in it now. This is the garden where only nasty seeds grow, nothing else. It's not a flowery garden, the garden of flowers. It's only the garden of weeds. I can't believe it come to this. My father has only been dead for 2 months. My father has not been dead for a long, long time. He has been dead only for 2 months, not even 2. Such an excellent king, superior to my uncle as a god to a beast, and so loving toward my mother that he kept the wind from blowing too hard on her face. So every father should have a son like Hamlet, so caring, so loving. He loves his father. He respects his father. He misses his father. So he cannot. A son who loves his father so passionately, so deeply, so insanely, cannot tolerate the killers. It doesn't matter who they are. So he asks this question, why did Claudius and Gertrude get married so soon? He has not been dead for a long time. And he loved his wife, my mother. What happened to her? Why did she marry in such a great haste? In such a great hurry, that he might not beat him the winds of heaven, visit her face so roughly. Oh God, do I have to remember that? She would hang on to him, and the more she was with him, the more she wanted to be with him. There was a cordial relationship between senior Hamlet and Gertrude. Heaven and earth, must I remember why she would hang on him, as it increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on, and ate within a month. She was so happy with him, and he was so happy with her. Then, and ate even so within a month of my father's death. I don't even want to think about it. Why did you marry my uncle? Let me not think on it. I don't want to think about it. Then he makes that very famous statement, frailty, thy name is woman. And you are so weak. You changed your mind. You changed your mind so quickly. And Shakespeare talks about this change, not only in his plays, but also in his several sonnets. Why do people change and change so quickly, especially with regard to their love, with regard to their commitment? It could be any relation, father, mother. It could be friendship. A little month or before those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body. You could have waited. You married my uncle, he says. You married my uncle before the shoes with which you followed my poor father's body became old. Like Neob, all tears. Why even she, oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer. She's a human being, even a beast, an animal. When it lost its companion, would have mourned and cried for a longer time. And she married my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father. And he makes it very clear. He knows the difference between his father and his uncle. His father's brother, she married my father's brother, but he is not like my father, but no more like my father. Then I to Heracles, within a month, before yet the self of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married, oh most wicked speed. Hamlet speaks about the speed with which they were married, and he calls it most wicked speed. So, Hamlet is, I'm going to conclude my lecture, the first lecture today. I initially thought I would cover each act in each of my 5 lectures. It seems, I'm very consciously, deliberately using the word seems. It doesn't seem to work out. I will have to deliver another couple of lectures more to talk about all dimensions of this play. Dear viewers, Hamlet is not only a very difficult play, it's also a very complex play. Let us try to find out let us try to find out where the difficulty lies, where the complexity lies. In other words, we have to find out and discuss the difficulties and complexities of this wonderful, wonderful classic play. Thank you so much. I will meet you again. May God bless.